Bitcoin takes a major dive. Inflation inches up to 2.4%, and IKEA is cutting jobs. This is the Ken Parkin Real Estate Podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Ken Parkin Real Estate Podcast, where we talk all things real estate, anything happening in the economy, and something that you can take away and use in your everyday life. If you've got a few minutes, I would love for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the Ken Parkin Real Estate Podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening. I am grateful that you are here with me today. I am talking about some interesting stuff that's come into the news over the last couple of days, and I think it's relevant to you, your career, your life, and potentially your real estate goals and aspirations. If you work in the industry at all, whether you're a realtor, a mortgage broker, home inspector, investment advisor, anything like that, I welcome you to the podcast. If it's the first time you're hearing my podcast, welcome. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that in the next few minutes, I give you something that you can take away and mull over or use or talk about. Maybe it's a point of conversation. Thank you so much, though, for listening and sharing the podcast. It really means a lot to me. Wanted to talk about three things today, and if you caught them in the intro, there's some interesting things happening in the world of Canadian business and in our economy. The first thing I wanted to talk about was inflation and how it inched up to 2.4% in October. We are just getting the stats for October, and CBC put out a report through the Thomson Reuters media network, and it was published the 23rd today, Friday. Talking about Canada's inflation rate, it remained above the central bank's target for the ninth straight month in October, data showed on Friday. But markets saw few signs that the Bank of Canada is going to hike interest rates next month. StatsCan said the annual inflation rate edged up to 2.4% from 2.2% in September, and the analysts had basically forecasted it would stay at 2.2%. So the central bank, which consistently said inflation would move down towards 2% by 2019, got it wrong. And they're hoping for that so they can continually raise interest rates, but it's actually inched up. They have an announcement on interest rates December 5th. Andrew Grantham, I butchered names so badly, I apologize. Senior economist at the CIBC Capital Markets said lower prices for oil, one of Canada's main exports, would soon start pulling down inflation. We see nothing here to tip the Bank of Canada's hand towards a December hike, he said in a phone interview. Market expectations of interest rates and a potential hike coming on December 5th, as reflected in the overnight index swap market, dipped to 23%, 23.2% from 23.4%. Earlier that month, that figure was above 30%. Two of the three central bank core inflation measures posted gains. So if you don't really know what's going on, basically they're trying to gauge the economy's performance or underperformance. That was unchanged at 1.9%. I think we're going to see a headline number drop pretty heavily below 2% in the November reading, said Doug Porter. He's a chief economist over at BMO Capital Markets. The Bank of Canada has hiked interest rates 5 times. Take away this from the story. The Bank of Canada has hiked rates 5 times since July of last year, 2017, and says more increases will be needed. Rates are rising exactly at the right pace, Governor Stephen Pelosi said on November 5th. I mean, my takeaway from this is I actually think rates are kind of where they need to be right now. There's a lot of things happening in the economy. If you're not paying attention, they're working on some corporate tax cuts. I don't know if this is a political ploy or if they're genuinely just wanting to help small businesses grow. It's been a a tough couple of years for small businesses, both in Ontario and in Canada, as various tax increases, as well as things like the minimum wage hike increase, and all of those things that have kind of factored into how the small business and community has had to basically react. And I don't know the net positive or negative of everything that's happened, but I do know that as rates increase, it's going to probably start tightening up a lot of the lending. And we're starting to see this now with less people purchasing homes. So as it relates back to real estate, it's becoming tougher and tougher now to qualify. As rates go up, it's even more difficult. And so if you're in the market to move, you're going to want to move sooner than later. And this isn't a sales tactic. This isn't me trying to get more business from you. But you're going to want to move sooner than later because things are going to start becoming more and more difficult for buyers, which means if you have to sell your home, it's going to be a lot more challenging as rates start to go up. So if you're thinking about making a move, sooner is better than later. IKEA, the Swedish meatball company that also sells furniture. I don't know if you've had any of their Swedish meatballs, but they actually aren't that bad. They're looking to cut jobs as it focuses more on e-commerce. The retailer employs 6,500 people across Canada. The Swedish home furnishing company IKEA says about 150 jobs in Canada could be impacted over the next 2 years as changing customer behavior affects how they're going to do business. The retailer, now this is kind of the headline, under the headline, this is kind of important. And this sort of shows where we're heading as a society. The retailer expects to cut 7,500 jobs worldwide. IKEA is going to cut 7,500 jobs worldwide as it addresses urbanization, new technology, and digitalization that are changing the way customers live and shop. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm going to buy a new couch and I think to myself, you know what? I'm going to head down to IKEA. I'm going to have some Swedish meatballs and maybe some spaghetti, some pasta, and I'm going to go buy a new couch. Chances are I'm not going to buy the couch online. Chances are. I don't know about you, but if I'm buying a new mattress, a new bed, a new chair, I want to go and physically see it, lay on it, sit on it, jump on it, touch it. I want to know what I'm purchasing as a consumer good, as something that, isn't like, I'm trying to think of something you're going to buy online. Like, let's say, so for example, I bought a memory card for a camera. I don't need to physically go and see and touch it. So that is an online purchase that I can look at the specs, read the reviews, and make an informed decision. But when I'm buying a couch, is it too high? Is it too low? Is it too deep? Is it too soft? How large is it? The color? There's some things that you can do online, and then there's some things you need to do offline. And I feel like buying furniture, as of right now, without living in a VR world, virtual reality world, you need to go and actually try. And so I think IKEA, while the digital market is coming, well, it's already here. Look at Amazon.ca. I'm not buying a couch right now online. Now, there are companies like Wayfair where you can do that. The challenge that I have, and this is something as well with clothing, if you know your size and you're buying shoes online, like say you buy a pair of Skechers shoes, which I've done online, but I bought the same kind of shoes in store so I know my size. Different story. So I can feel confident buying it online. But if you don't know your size and every shoe fits differently, are you really going to want to spend the time and energy to get those shoes, try them on in your house, have to package them back up, have to ship them back to Skechers or to Amazon or wherever you buy, and go through the process again? I don't want to do that. So IKEA is looking to cut some jobs because of technology. They go on to say, and this is from the Canadian Press, while new roles will be created across the Canadian network, it says some jobs will be relocated, changed, or removed. Of the 150 employees to be impacted, up to 50 at its Canadian National Service Office may be redundant. That makes a little bit more sense to me, as some things that can be, more automated. And let's talk about this for a minute. I think it's actually very important. Automation isn't a bad thing. We think it is, but living our lives and having things done easier and better isn't a bad thing. We don't need to eliminate the customer service role where we want to interact with customers. What we need to be focusing on, though, is how we're going to manage that automation. I've had this conversation with a bunch of people. McDonald's, for example, maybe in the next 10 years is going to get rid of most of its staff. They've already gotten rid of some of their cashiers. But it's not a bad thing, because the $14 an hour minimum wage job is going to be replaced with $35,000 and $40,000 and $60,000 a year management of the robot that's making my Big Mac. And my Big Mac's not going to be made wrong anymore, like it is 95% of the time. And I'm not that I eat there. I maybe eat there once a month or once every couple of months. But when you go and order something and then it's made wrong, it gets really frustrating. Now, the challenge is what happens to the jobs that students and people with less skills, those jobs. To be honest with you, there's thousands of those jobs out there. There's thousands of them out there. There's always going to be the need for a landscaping crew or a snowplow crew in the wintertime, where you're going to need a shovel. You're going to need... all of these jobs aren't going to be eliminated. It's just some certain jobs that can be done better with automation, but can actually pay more because you're going to need someone to manage the robot making the hamburger. I don't think that's a bad thing. Back to IKEA. The retailer says it will explore new store formats, enhance in-store experience, invest in its digital experience, improve its service, and optimize distribution networks. That includes opening stores in city centers to complement its larger locations. The company is opening stores in 30 major cities around the world to diversify its reach. But Canada, those plans haven't been available yet. We don't have any specific expansion plans to announce in IKEA Canada today. However, I can share it's still our goal to grow and expand IKEA in Canada. This is from Kristen. Kristen New Binging. I can't even pronounce that last name. I'm horrible with it. IKEA employs 6,500 people across Canada, including 6,300 at its stores. Interesting development with IKEA, and I think we're going to start seeing that across the retail landscape as other major big box retailers are closing their doors or having a very hard time competing in the retail space. Last story, this has been the worst week for cryptocurrency since the bubble burst, with losses now at $700 billion with a B dollars. Bitcoin slipped closer to $4,000. 4,000. Where was its peak? It's got to tell me somewhere here. I know it peaked well over 20,000 per coin. This story was written by Eric Lamb of Bloomberg News. The great cryptocurrency crash of 2018 is heading for its worst week yet. Bitcoin slipped closer to $4,000, and most of its peers tumbled on Friday, extending the Bloomberg Galaxy crypto index's decline since November 16th to 23%. It's down 23%. This is the worst week slump since Cryptomania peaked in early January. It's getting really nasty. No end in sight as the Bitcoin sell-off happens. Bitcoin slides resume, piercing through that 5,000 mark, which was kind of considered the bottom end from a few stories that I had, or a few articles that I had read. Bitcoin is plunging, and they don't know when or where it's going to end. If Bitcoin collapses, we could see a run down towards 3,000 This thing is going to be a monster. People will be running for the exits. And this is the problem when any major stock or, I guess, cryptocurrency, when everybody wants to jump off, everybody wants to jump off. And so it's a major sell-off, major negative for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Friday, they retreated as much as 7.6%. Pretty crazy. I don't know if you own any Bitcoin, but, and I'm not sure what your view is on the market for Bitcoin or for cryptocurrency. I think it's a very interesting concept, and I think the fundamental premise of Bitcoin or of cryptocurrency, having sort of some unregulated means of financial distribution of wealth. You could buy something in Austria, Germany for 1 Bitcoin, and you could, there would be no holdback and currency transfer and change your Canadian dollars to, German franc. Like it was a very streamlined process. I get that. And I think there's still some good fundamental outliers with it, but the craze of it and the idea behind it work together to spike it, and I think is now starting to bring it down. Where Bitcoin goes in the future, no one knows. But as for right now, if you have Bitcoin, I probably wouldn't sell. Don't listen to me. I'm not a cryptocurrency advisor, but who knows? It could come back and have a crazy rush, and you could see your losses turn back into wins. I want to thank every single person who listens to this podcast. I really try to bring some different perspectives on the current business and economic news that happens daily, and we try to come and offer an opinion that you're not just going to see in the media, but it's a different perspective, and I really hope that you can take something away from it. I'm not here to learn or to teach or to try and help you learn anything. This is more just, this is what's happening and this is my perspective. If you aren't following me on Facebook, go to Ken Parkin Real Estate on Facebook. I'm actually doing a Home Depot gift card giveaway. All you have to do is like Ken Parkin Real Estate, the Facebook page, and like the Facebook post. I made a video talking about the gift card giveaway. Just like that gift card giveaway video. Enter done in the comments so I know that you've watched it and you are going to be in for the gift card giveaway. It's a $50 gift card giveaway. We're going to be doing that giveaway on December 1st, and there's going to be a few more to come. Monday, what's Monday? Monday, November 26th. I'm shooting my first interview with the Golfers Academy in Burlington, Ontario. We're highlighting businesses that make an impact in the local marketplace. And the Golfers Academy, I am looking forward to sitting down with Jason, the owner, and talking about indoor golf. If you are a golf fan in general, you're going to want to watch this interview. And we've got some really cool and exciting things coming. If you're thinking about making a move and want to sell your home or purchase something, contact me. You can go to kenparkin.com/contact. or sold@kenparkin.com. I'd love to sit down and talk to you about your real estate move and how I can better assist you and make sure we get top dollar for your home in today's real estate market that's changing constantly each and every day. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Go out and have a great, awesome weekend.